In this video, I'm gonna show you a perfect and basic itinerary for Portugal for you who are going for the first time. In this video, we're gonna show you a very cool itinerary, the most traditional of all in Portugal. For those who are going there for the first time and want to get to know the main cities, such as Lisbon and Porto, you can extend it to Sintra, Cascais. Is it worth it? Fátima, which is very nice. What should I do with this first itinerary? How many days should I stay in each city? So we've made a really nice video explaining everything so you can leave here with the right idea of how many days you're going to spend in each city, how many days you're going to stay in Portugal, and how many days you're going to make the most of your itinerary. So guys, don't forget to give us a like. That thumbs up is very important. Subscribe to the channel and buckle up. Hey guys, for those who don't know me, I'm Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the Grupo Dicas, the largest travel content network in the world, and today we're gonna talk about a really cool itinerary in Portugal. It's the basic itinerary we did the first time we went to Portugal, and which I highly recommend you to do. It's not such a fixed itinerary, and why? Because everyone stays for a certain number of days. There are people who go to Europe and stay for 30 days, there are people who only stay for 7 days, so we've put together a very nice itinerary considering the minimum you should stay in each city in Portugal, which ones are really worthwhile, and how to get around between them, sightseeing, nearby towns, and all the right tips for you to make your trip complete and get the most out of it. So let's go. The main cities in Portugal for those traveling there, guys, are Lisbon is the main one. It's the most visited and it's the gateway to Portugal. Most international flights arrive there, so it's probably number one, and you should include it in your itinerary. Porto is also very well known and visited. It's a very nice city, and then there are smaller towns such as Óbidos, Cascais, Sintra. There's the whole of the Algarve, which is a coastline with many beaches. For those who want to go on a beach trip, it's very nice, but we're going to focus a lot on Lisbon, Portugal, and some nearby cities, which is what 90% of tourists do when they travel to Portugal for the first time, and which we think is what you should do to get to know the main tourist attractions there, guys. So without further ado, let's go for our itinerary. So in this video, we're gonna focus a lot on Lisbon and Porto and throw in a few cities in between, okay, which are the main things you should see. It varies according to the number of days, right? If you're staying a lot of days, you can do all the tours. We're gonna make an average. I think the best thing for Lisbon is at least 4 days. It's an ideal average. I think 5 days in Lisbon is fine. In Porto, 2 days, maximum 3 is fine too. But prioritize Lisbon because I think it's better to get to know Lisbon, and there are several cities nearby that you can do round trips and excursions in the same day while staying in Lisbon. So let's start with Lisbon. A good itinerary for Lisbon, I think you have to stay at least 5 days, right? That's ideal. At least 3, 4, at most 7, 8, but I think 5 is ideal, and I'll explain it to you here. I'll briefly talk about the itinerary by day, about what you're going to do. If you're going to stay 3 days, prioritize the 3 coolest days that you like the most. If you're staying longer, just add more days, but it's an average. Here I'll tell you about 5 ideal days in Portugal, Lisbon, and then you decide what to do, whether to add more or not, or how many days. So let's go. The first day in Lisbon, you enjoy the central part of the city, which is probably where you'll be staying. We'll give you hotel tips here so you can do everything on foot in the best center in the heart of Lisbon. So everything I'm going to talk about here on the first day is practically all on foot, right? So on the first day, you get to know the heart of Lisbon. You walk along Rua Augusta, which is one of the most important streets there. You get to Rossio Square, an iconic square that everyone likes to stand in and take pictures of. Take a look at the Tagus river nearby, one of the most important rivers in Europe. There's also a very nice bridge which you can see from above and from afar, which makes for beautiful photos. So this first day, guys, I think it's a good idea to spend more time in this area. As well as Praça do Rossio, there's also Praça do Comércio, which is a very famous square, and if you walk around these squares, you see that there are restaurants, there are lots of nice things for you to stop and see. Portugal's cuisine, guys, is incredible. It's cheap, it's one of the cheapest in Europe, so a abuse it, use it, have some nice wine, which is cheap too, go for a walk, but try to keep walking around this area and look for good restaurants. And then after lunch, you can go to Lisbon's headquarters, which is very famous. It's an iconic and cultural place in the city. It's near there, and then it'll be more or less afternoon. Try to go in the afternoon, try to catch the late afternoon at São Jorge Castle. It's super beautiful, it's higher up, it's a bit of a walk to get there. There is a staircase, right? A word of warning for those who sometimes have mobility difficulties, some kind of restriction. It's a big effort up there because there are a lot of steps, there's no elevator, there's nothing, but the scenes from up there are beautiful. The sunset is beautiful, it's a great place to visit, and at the end of the day you can go to a restaurant for dinner to do something, but you already know everything. On the second day, you can visit the Chiado district, where there are lots of restaurants and bookshops. It's very nice. There's a famous cafe called A Brasileira. It's very well known. There's a statue of Fernando Pessoa, and it's very crowded. If you can't have your coffee there, you can have it in a cafe next door, which is practically the same, but you should stop just to see it. If you want to see the statue and take a worthwhile photo, make the opportunity to go to the Ribeira Market, a market that has all various cuisines, spices, products, food. It's nice to eat there too, guys. It's very typical food, very tasty, very fresh. So use it there for lunch, to wander around, and then go straight to the Alto neighborhood, which is another very famous area. You can use the Gloria elevator to go up there, which is also one of the tourist attractions. Then you can wander around, go to the São Luís de Camões Square. There's the Miradouro de Santa Catarina, which is very beautiful. There's the Church of Santa Catarina. There's Rua Duarte de Melo, which is also very nice. It's a very cool place. At night, there are restaurants. It gets a bit trendy. Stay in this area, enjoy Lisbon, and then go back. And guys, I've given you all the tips you need to plan everything, so don't worry, it's much easier. Down here in the video description, I've left a link that we've created, a page with all the links to all the websites we use to plan our trips. Below you'll find a link to all the websites and all the tips you need to organize your trip to Portugal. And then there are hotels we've stayed in Lisbon, the hotel we stayed in the first time, I've listed it here. It's super cheap, you can do everything on foot, it's right in the heart of Lisbon, sensational. There's another one too, very good. There's also the internet chip, the travel insurance, which is mandatory for Europe. We have an insurance comparator that we've found to be incredible. It finds insurance at half the price of insurance companies. There's the car rental buyer, the website to buy the trains. To get to all the regions in Europe, you have to use the train. There's no way. Only Lisbon and Porto are a long way away. There is also the ferry website, the ticket website. The ticket website, guys, has all the excursions and tours you can take at the best price of all. The service is good, and it's available in several world currencies, so you don't pay IOF. So take a look below, use it, it's got everything right. There's a global digital account now, which is the best way to take your money to Europe and all over the world. You'll save more than 10% compared to buying foreign exchange the traditional way. So take a look, everything is organized. Use the link to plan your trip. The discounts are already included automatically, so save this page, log in calmly later, do your research, check everything out, compare with other places. You see that the prices are unbeatable. You'll be able to plan everything easily, quickly, and in the cheapest way possible of all. It's really, really amazing. And on the third day in Lisbon, this third day, I think it's my favorite, guys. It was very nice, which is to go to the Belém area. I like to separate. I'm separating for you the points by region, so you don't waste time getting around, so everything I'm talking about is close by. The third day, you go to Belém. It's a bit far away. By Uber, maybe 20 minutes. We walked along the Tagus River from the center to Belém. I think it was an hour, but it was very easy and very quick, because you can walk, you can stop, have some beer, have a coffee, so it's quick. If you go to the Belém area, there's the Belém Tower, which is Lisbon's main tourist attraction. You can go in, there's a museum inside. It's not a must-see museum, but if you have time, it's cheap, you can go in or just take pictures from the outside. Nearby too, on the way, you'll find the Discovery Standard, which is a very famous and very iconic monument in Portugal. Inside, it's also a tourist attraction, but you can go in or not, and in front of the Belém Tower, more or less, there's the Jerónimos Monastery. It's a beautiful place, you guys, it's peaceful, tranquil, we love the details inside. It's worth it, and you need to buy the ticket, but it's also easy on this ticket website I mentioned it, and which is also here in the description of the video. It sells all the tickets. Take a look, you see all the prices, and next door there is the famous Pastel de Belém, which is the most famous restaurant in theory with the famous and traditional Pastel de Belém. The Pastel de Belém, guys, is actually called Pastel de Nata in Portugal, okay? We created this story about the Pastel de Belém, but you see that they say at the time that the real and traditional pastel was called the Pastel de Nata, just like that. But there's all the tradition, and the most traditional Pastel de Belém is the one in the restaurant next to the Jerónimos, which you see there is actually called the Belém restaurant, Pastel de Belém, something like that. The fourth day in Lisbon, I'd set aside for you to go to the Oceanarium de Lisboa, which is beautiful, guys. It's a gigantic aquarium, especially for those with children. It's a very nice trip to take. Lisbon's cable car is also a very nice attraction. The view is beautiful. Take a walk, check out the last few things that remain to be seen, but I think it's a great day out. And then the fifth day of your trip, this fourth day, maybe you can replace it with one of the tours I'm going to talk about now, but leave it there first so you can see what you prefer. I'd leave the fifth day for Sintra. There are some tips from Lisbon, for example, to Sintra, which is 30 to 40 minutes away. It's a beautiful excursion. You get to see the castle of Sintra. It's a very medieval town, you know. It's very old. It's a bit different from Lisbon, and I think it's an incredible trip, well worth doing. There's also the one with Sintra, Óbidos. Take a look. There are lots of great day trips. Below in the video on the tickets and excursions website, go there. You see that there are lots, and there are the main ones. The best rated, in one day you get to know several towns. So there is the Sintra region, which has a few other towns, and there's also Cascais, which is a bit more beachy. It's a beautiful town, but I would prioritize this Sintra tour, right? I think it's sensational. It's close, it's quick, it's cheap, it's beautiful, it's worth doing. I'd put the fifth day towards one of these attractions, so in the end you choose to see which is best for you, but this is my recommendation. On the 6th and 7th days, you could also add one more day of sightseeing in Lisbon for shopping, eating, and sightseeing, or you can also go to other cities like the ones I mentioned, and Fátima. For those who are Catholic, those who are Christian, there's all the religiosity. It's a very beautiful region, very iconic and very strong with the history of Our Lady of Fátima, so it's a nice city and it's close to Lisbon too. It's only an hour and a bit away. There are excursions, take a look, but you can combine Lisbon with a lot of these cities, so you can already explore a lot of Portugal on the basis of Lisbon, whether it's 3 to 7 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. You can make up your own itinerary, guys. You just follow once you need, see what you need and what you want to do, and you go. And another part of the itinerary that I think would be good to include would be those 5 or 6 days in Lisbon, which also includes Porto. Porto is a beautiful city, worth seeing in my opinion. 2 full days, okay? But 2 full days there, is that okay? 3 days is also fine if you want to explore, but I think it's worth more days for the other cities, which are more different. So I'll talk briefly about Porto in 2 days. To get from Lisbon to Porto, it takes 3 hours. You can find the tickets on the train ticket website. It's quick, it's cheap, the flight is even quicker, but I think it's nice to go by train because you can enjoy everything. There's still Fátima in the middle. There are some nice towns in between that you can stop off for a day if you like, but in my opinion, do it all in Lisbon, use the Lisbon base, and then take the direct train to Porto and stay there for 2 or 3 days. And guys, if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll try to help, right? It's just that there are a lot of messages, but I'm making an effort here. I really like to help. I'm doing my best to answer everyone. Whoever wants to, and it's even quicker than here on YouTube, add me on Instagram @bylorenzi, and then send me a direct message and I'll try to help even faster. There, the dynamics are a little faster. I send the audio, I can respond faster, and take the opportunity to follow me there to see all the trips we make, our life here in the United States. And speaking of which, guys, we have a project, a very cool new channel that we made about our family called Lorenzi Family. If you can, watch it, like it, subscribe. It's really cool. We're sharing our whole life here in the United States because we moved to Orlando with our 2 daughters, me, Lee, Clarinha, and Laurinha. We show the Disney parks because we live 15 minutes from the parks, the amusement parks, the beaches here, the cities, the whole world, because we keep traveling everywhere. So it's a very cool piece of content. Whoever can enjoy it, subscribe and watch it. Follow us there, and I think you're gonna like the content. It's for the whole family. Ideally, you should start in the Ribeira area. This is the most touristic and historic area in the region. It used to be a fisherman area, and then it started to have lots of restaurants, lots of stores, so it's a very intense tourist area. It's a very popular area both by day and by night. At night, it's a bit hectic, okay? You can take a very nice boat trip along the River Douro, this is a tour to do on the first day. It's very nice, it's not expensive. Check out the tickets website here. You see that's easy to do and it's very beautiful. You get the whole view of the river and the city, and I think it's well worth including on your first day. And the great thing is that if you take this tour of the Douro River, you get to the other part, which is Vila Nova de Gaia, which is where the famous port wine cellars are located. There are several places with wine tasting, so my tip, guys, have lunch before you go, because there you do a lot of wine tasting. There are cheeses, there are some things to taste, but I think it's good to go well fed and enjoy the tastings, which is a very touristy tour of Porto, and you finish off in a restaurant. On the second day, I think you should focus on the historic part of Porto, the most touristic part. It's a very rich region, full of monuments and churches. You have a lot of culture and history to see there. There's the tour of Terreno da Sé, which, as the name suggests, is where the Sé, Porto's cathedral, is very famous. It's home to one of Portugal's oldest monuments. You can continue there to the Almeida Garrett Square, which is also very nice. It's where the São Bento train station is located, known for its tiled interior. This tour, guys, you have to do it. This station, the interior with the tiles, the moment you see, you will recognize the tiles. It's very historic, it's worth doing, and next to it, walking there, is Praça da Liberdade. That's where there's also the monument to Dom Pedro IV with his horse, which is very cool, which in Brazil would be our Dom Pedro I. So there is this difference, but it's a very nice to see the statue, and then you can stroll along Avenida dos Aliados, which is one of the city's most famous avenues. At Christmas, it's all decorated. It's one of the most beautiful avenues in Porto. It's worth a stroll both day and night. In there, try to find the restaurants. All the food is good. There are Tascas, which they call bars. You know, it looks very humble from the outside, very simple, but the food is delicious, so it's definitely worth a try. We had several good experiences there, and the food and wine are very cheap. If you like wine, guys, we had a lot. At every meal we ordered a bottle of wine. It was almost, we paid 4 euros for the house wine, as they call it, which is the cheapest. There are very good wines for $10. $10 I'm using US dollars here, for 10 euros, 12 euros. So it's very nice, you can eat very well, and for a good price. Compare that to the rest of Europe. It's very, very cheap. And to finish off the day, I think it's nice to go up to the Clérigos Tower, which is very famous, but there are 250 steps, but the view is 360 degrees from up there. The view of the city is incredible, it's very beautiful, and you can also check out the Lelo Irmão bookshop, which is a very famous bookshop, very historic in the center of the city. Everyone goes there. I think it's worth going in there too, and there are more things to do. If you want to add more days in Porto, you can, but I think 2 full days is fine. If you can add half the next day so you can take the bus to another city, it's because I think there are other cities that are more different, with cooler and more interesting things to discover, that you can use there to use other days. And down here, guys, don't forget the link to the page we made just for you to organize the whole trip. Save it, send it to your email, use it on your computer, because by following it, you'll be able to plan your entire trip. By hiring everything from the best and cheapest places, you see that discounts are already included. These are very aggressive prices to try to help you organize your trip in the best possible way. And of course, guys, as cheaply as possible for you to save money on your trip. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel, because it really helps us a lot. Because it really helps us to produce more and more content and to grow the channel in a much stronger way. And over here, I'm going to leave you with the 2 super important videos so you can continue planning your trip to Portugal, guys. So thank you very much and have nice trips.